Well, if meat is actually tough and you put your fingers into it and you squeeze it and it won't go through, it's probably beyond tenderising. But there are a few things you can do to make it a bit tenderer. If it's very tough, if you get a sharp pointed knife, you can do this, which breaks down the fibres within the meat.
Hello, my fellow hunters. Now that Iceborne has had time to cool down a little, and we are snugly in between monster releases, Rajang last month and something mysteriously new next, let's talk the Clutch Claw. Because I'll be honest, now that I've, well, put in a lot of hours, I more and more found myself kind of being just about it. And when I say Clutch Claw, I should specify that I am targeting here tenderising as a mechanic, because to put it bluntly, in its current implementation, it's just awful. It's not fun, it is work, it is an uninteresting maintenance buff, and why I feel that way is, well, the purpose of this video, and I feel that I am not alone in this. Maybe not to as strong a degree as I just conveyed, but I really don't think I am, and as such, I would love you all to chip in on this topic. But first things first, Iceborne's new tune-ups have been, on the whole, I think, a fantastic success. The huge focus on
slinger burst, slinger fire, slinger burst,
has been great. All of the slinger shenanigans has added a lovely extra layer to the game. It's not overtly powerful that you have to use them, but they do add to nearly all of the weapons. There's plenty of slinger ammo around, so that's not frustrating. You never feel like you're wanting for it unless you're fighting silver and gold Rathalos, because there's no fucking slinger ammo in that zone, and it's just But for the most part, top-notch, inspired edition, better game. But then we get to the Clutch Claw. Let's break this down. The idea of a mini mount on command is really quite grand, but the problem is once you land, what are you gonna do? If you're gonna tenderize in that, I say boo. I'm gonna stop now because I am so fucking white. So, I'm with you, game, until we have landed on the monster. Being able to rope in all the time, fun, alright? Mounting as a whole is great. When it first got implemented, it was mind-blowingly revolutionary, and it's always a fantastic moment for everyone when a mount happens. Clutch Claw mounting then, very different. Flint-shotting, fantastic. Spinning the monster around, being able to actually control and rage in a much more direct way as the hunter. That adds some real agency, gives different values to different skills. Agitator, of course, being so much better in Iceborne because of flint shotting is the prime and best example. That is just yes. Launching this poor creature flailing into the rock, feeling the crunch of its skull as it reels away, dazed and confused, before you mercilessly stab it, burn it, explode it, poison it, paralyze it. And hunters are really horrible people.
Are we the baddies?
That all aside, it is fun. It adds, everyone can get engaged with it, everyone can see when it's happening, the monster's spinning around, and yeah, it's great. Tenderising then, no. And the reason for that is it doesn't add anything to the experience. It adds work. And what do I mean by work? Well, in games, there are such a thing as a maintenance buff. And, well, if you've ever played an MMORPG in any kind of serious fashion, you'll instantly know what I mean by that. But to give a more rounded example of what a maintenance buff is in its most uninteresting, unfun form, imagine if you're playing a game, you're killing something, you're fighting, whatever it is, and it takes a while to kill, and every 90 seconds, part of the game is press triangle to do 10% more damage for 90 seconds. And you just, well, every 90 seconds, I guess, press triangle, because why wouldn't you? Why would someone choose not to do that? That's silly. That's a big deal, so you do it. But that's not really engaging. It's not like, oh boy, it's been 1 minute 25 seconds. Get ready, boys. Here we go. And okay, back to what I was doing. Back to the fun parts. And you might already see where I'm going with that, right? Maintenance buffs are hard to get right, and while Tenderising with its part softening does open up options for interesting future monster designs where it's almost a requirement, or it interacts in a way that is kind of meaningfully, much like Rajang just grabbing you off him, that is the spice that gives extra kick to your actual experience. Oh, and talking of that, I want to just point this out from a video I made before Iceborne got released, when the Clutch Claw first got introduced as a concept. Oh, like, you have a fucking Rajang, right? This one is one of my favorites, alright? You have a Rajang, you try and Clutch Claw to him, he just grabs the rope in the air, pulls you in, and then just punches you! See? I called that very obvious thing! Get on my level! But for right now, the best it can really do is something like, hey, now we can hunt Levizioth a lot easier, because we can just keep softening his rocky magma shell, and that's nice, because, the less time we spend fighting him, the better. What? But even in that example, I don't know about you guys, but it is more interesting gameplay-wise to have to find torch pods, fire it against him, have to time your assaults with him just having surface to get the most in before he hardens, having to allow for maybe bringing fire element. That's more engaging and thought-provoking than just attach, tenderize, alright, stab the fish! So even then, it's not great. But the point is, every 90 seconds, I am finding more and more that I am going, oh, the tenderized part's finished. Okay, yep, heads back to normal. Alright, here we go. I mean, I know I can use it with my weapon out, but, it's just going to be easy if I just sheath. Okay, I'm going to run around the monster, wait for it to do an attack, because, my Rocksteady and my Temporal that I bring every hunt, just because it makes tenderizing less frustrating, because I can do them for free with them on, so, yeah, that's great, I guess. So, alright, the monster's going to do an attack. Alright, there we go, attached to him, start the tenderize. Oh, never mind, there was a roar, so I'm back on the ground. Okay, wait again. Alright, now rope onto him. Okay, here we go with the tenderizing. Is this gonna... Nope, he fucking did a lunge forward because of fucking course he did. That's fine. That's fine. We'll get back on him. Alright, and oh! Yes, we did it. Alright, he's tenderized. Okay. Now I can play the game again. And I am being hyperbolic. Sure, of course I am. But I cannot deny that increasingly, the act of applying tenderizing to the monster is just a frustrating work-like experience. But also knowing how overwhelming the benefit of doing so, the turning into a weak spot combined with the increased damage to mitigate the inherent damage resistance that master rank monsters have. I mean, there is a reason the speedrunner community for the most part really dislikes tenderizing, because it's not interesting, but it's powerful, and that is a really 1-2 hammer blow for a mechanic not being a success. If something feels required, but at the same time not engaging, well, that's the triple cart for that mechanic right there. So, there are a lot of ways, I think, to address this. Firstly, we need to nerf the Clutch Claw so that it doesn't one-shot Gold Rathian. Quite frankly, that just seems absolutely absurd. But if we're going to talk more of its broad uses, then we need to address tenderizing in one of two ways. It needs to be weaker so that when it's not active, you don't feel too bad about that, or it just needs to be restricted in when or how often you can apply it in a way that doesn't seem arbitrary almost. So, what I would do, and by the way, we really don't want to throw out the, well, if you don't like it, just don't use it, because one, it is healthy to discuss an aspect of something you enjoy and how it might be better. The notion of people defending something that isn't the greatest by just telling people that don't like it to pretend it doesn't exist is very kind of flawed and very backwards. They're trying something new with this mechanic, and as someone who adores Monster Hunter more than I can express, I want to, well, express my thoughts on it. It's always fun to do, it's always healthy, and I love seeing what you guys think in return. So I don't want to nerf how powerful tenderizing is, because inherently I want the mindset to be adjusted from tenderize ran out, we gotta tenderize again, Yeah. And even in group hunts, by the way, is it just me, or does everybody play with the mindset, oh, someone else will tenderize, I'll just damage the monster? I mean, I've done a lot of group hunting across streams and just personally, and that seems to be the case most of the time. People don't tenderize. And sure, that might be laziness, but I also think that speaks volume for how much there is I just can't be, I don't want to do it. And that is, again, very significant. And also, is it just me, or are those of you with a light weapon really kinda screwed over here? Because sure, the initial idea of half the weapons give ammo, half the weapons tenderize, they work together, thumbs up. But people solo hunt. I'd argue people solo hunt more than multi-hunt, honestly. So if you're there with a light weapon, the idea of having to go through the frustrating process of a successful clutch claw attack twice before you're tenderized and ready to hunt as normal? Good lord, honestly, it's actively why I've not played the light weapons I like as much. When I do play dual blades, I just ignore tenderizing because I just don't want to go through it. I really don't. And sure, I might be talking here right now saying this, and everyone listening is going, what? It's fine, it's fun, it's great, I love tenderizing, especially on dual blades. Yeah, what are you on about, man? And that's fair enough, but this is still how I've been feeling. And I like on Greatsword getting on there and slicing it through the head, and it looks great, it's an impactful animation, it does loads of damage, and it is, the actual act of doing it is fun. My issue is you constantly have to do it, and it's very easy to be in a loop of something keeps preventing you from doing it, and it's frustrating, and until you do it, you can't get back to, air quotes, normal hunting. So either way, I digress. What I would want is, you know when a monster reels backwards and starts drooling? Yeah, that mode that monsters regularly go into, that I want to be the clutch claw moment. Literally the clutch claw moment. Not, oh, it's a free clutch claw moment. I want it to be the clutch claw moment. I think that if you literally couldn't attach to the monster outside of this exhausted drooly stance, that the whole system would work so much more fluidly, be so much more impactful, meaningful, and above all, fun. Initially, it works thematically, right? Because now the monster is exhausted, now you can climb all over it and have your way. And now that you're here, you have a choice to make. No option to just spam attach to the monster, spam tenderize, no option to go through that process. Alright, you're hunting normally, and then boom! Hey, alright, we've reached the point, guys, we can do the clutch claw! What should we do? And asking what should we do, giving choice and agency to the player is what makes engagement. Of course, there's other things, but having to make a decision is engaging, inherently an active participation, a bit of a choice, a bit of strategy, a bit of thinking. So what that thinking is, do I want to flinch shot or do I want to tenderize? Perhaps in this system you had a third option, like just a big, huge damage boom, but you don't get either of the other benefits. But you have got the monster in Drool City, they're exhausted, you attach, and then, okay, I can either use this as an opportunity to flinch it into the wall, do a bit of damage, knock him over, everyone can jump in, have a bit of a break, a breather, the low health people can heal up, okay, or alright, now I can apply Tenderize for a little bit. Now I can use this tool in my arsenal. Now I can use it. I don't need to constantly keep it up, but now I can use it. So for 90 seconds, I can give everyone a little bit of a easier time on this part of the monster, increase everyone's damage, and that in the long run is going to work out better than a single wall flinch, but it's a little bit riskier, a little bit less guaranteed, depending on how I and everyone plays. And then you see, already the cogs are turning. And look, I'm not going to pretend this is just, whoa, next level stratagems, but it's still a choice, and also it means you no longer feel compelled to constantly do it. So you don't even have to change how it works, really, you just have to change when you can do it. And I think that's the core. Turns it into an exciting moment into when you get a clutch claw instead of just almost a requirement to hunt with any kind of basic efficiency. It turns it from, time to tenderize to, yes, time to tenderize! And to me, that mindset flip is achieved by making it limited when you can attach. And that might be less fun because yes, spam going on is enjoyable from just a silly you're messing around potential. It is neat to just constantly flail onto the monster come what may. But in a serious fashion, well, I've been talking about it for a while now, and yes, it would eliminate builds like bloody crit draw clutch only heavy bowgun, but I guess for the overall health of the game, that's probably a small price to pay. Obviously, I would love to hear your guys' idea on this as well, but that's how I would do it with the minimal of actual raw change to the systems at play here, because in a vacuum, each one is good. The idea of softening a part and making it take more damage is good. The idea of doing that permanently and having to keep maintaining it, not so much, and that's the core of what I wanted to address, explore, and talk about. So let me know how you guys are finding, well, tenderization. Let me know if you think I'm off base here, if you're like, yeah, no, okay, alright, and I would love to see some discussion down there. I really, really would. Like you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I will see you soon. A good boy.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.